All right, guys, on to the last day of all things core strength kind of week. All right, so today I'm excited because yesterday we kind of dug in a little bit into specific exercises that are actually going to get you on the way, especially if you're not that advanced as far as when it comes to your core strength and core stability. So today we're going to dive a little deeper, but we're going to be more specific as well. So the first thing we're going to cover is what's up with all the planks? Is planks worth it? Is it going to be stronger if you're doing planks? If you've been doing planks, how come your back hurts? And we're also going to be talking about if you're struggling to lose belly fat, if you're struggling to work out around the house, work in your garden, and whatnot. So let's first start by addressing the whole plank situation. Now, planks is a great exercise for your core stability, as long as there's an external force, as you can see, that you're actually fighting or is fighting against you. Because remember, one of the things about core stability is really challenging and making sure that your organs, your structures around your torso are protected and actually secure. So when we come to, should I do a plank? Yes, as long as there's an external force, either a rubber band, a dumbbell, a kettlebell, whatever that case may be. Now, my preferred way to test your core stability is actually a hollow hold. And that's more like on the Pilates side of thing, if you're familiar with bar three or Pilates. But it's kind of like you can see, it's a modified version of a floater kick isometric. Now, the reason for that is because remember, your core entails from your rib cage to about down to your knees. When you do a plank, you tend to kind of use your lats and other areas, which, if you're stronger, is really not testing your entire core strength. So that's as far as the core plank. Now, if you're interested in knowing how you self-test at home your core stability and core strength, stay to the end because I got a couple things that you're actually gonna really like. Now, you probably heard this quote before. You'd rather be a warrior in the garden than a garden at war. Now, that is a famous quote by the very well talented artist Bruce Lee. And that is very relevant when it comes to the core because many of you guys dealt with this occasional backache and pain after working around the house, in the car, in the garage. And all of a sudden, the next day, Monday morning comes and you're like in excruciating stiffness, almost pain because you're back. Now, the reason for that is because remember, like I said on day one, your core is built of two different type of muscle, the slow and the fast twitch fibers. So you do need to get some core strength routines so you can actually endure, and also some core strength routines so you can actually be explosive. And this is very critical, especially if you're a golfer, like majority of my clients, or if you're tennis players. Okay, so golfers and tennis players, I like them to train like warriors so they can be comfortable in the garden. Now, a typical round of golf can go anywhere from 2.5 hours to 4 hours, depending on your golf skill, right? The same thing with a good round of golf, of tennis, with a good round of tennis. So when you're noticing, like say, like by hole number nine, your back starts getting tired, is because some of your core muscles are not up to date as far as strength to keep up with the demand. Because golf, it is a demanding sport. It's a lot of explosiveness. If you're not carting it, there's a lot of walking, so your core muscles also get a little bit tired in that regards. The same thing goes if you're working around the house, in the garage, outside in your garden, right? When you're like picking things, pulling on roots, clipping, pulling and spraying and all this stuff outside, there's going to be a point that your legs get tired. Your butt doesn't show up to stabilize you, right? On your tailbone. And then you're starting to not use your abdominals, intrinsically, and then you start using your low back protectively, if that makes sense. So this is the blueprint, one of the blueprint that I use inside the FlexiGolf program, and it involves, as you can see here in the diagram, it has four areas. The first one is the core mobility. And then we're talking to about the core stability. It's not quite the foundation, but first we want to be able to move, and then we want to be able to be stable with those movements with external forces. And then we move into the core strength and fluidity. Okay. And of course, the very last one is the core conditioning. So if you can follow this framework, you cannot go wrong regardless of what demands you put in your body, the activities, the length of time, or the intense amount of forces or weight coming your way. Now, let's take a look. Let's talk a little bit about belly fat, losing weight, how long does it takes, and whatnot. Let's clear the air first of all. When it comes to belly fat, you know, look for example. If you look at a bodybuilder, total beefcakes, totally buff, when they're relaxed, when they're not posing, when they don't have all the oil and the lights on them, they have a belly pooch. Because why? Because they're meeting their weight class, right? They might look good physically, but as far from the internal belly pooch, they kind of have this almost butt dad when they're not flexing. So they got the strong abs, right? But they don't have the long gum belly fat. So when it comes to belly fat, we need to deal with your hormone imbalance and your nutrition, and then your training. Okay, so if you've been on the fence trying to lose fat so you can get your core stronger, you can actually do the same thing because it's like I often tell clients, same store, different department. You still need to go into the store. You still need to go in and handle your nutrition, handle your hormone imbalance, and at the same time, slowly build up your core stability and your core strength. And that usually can take you 2 weeks, which, by the way, if you stay till the end, I got a nice little surprise coming your way. It can take you 2 weeks, but it can take you all the way to 3 months, 9 months, depending, like I mentioned before, on your level of commitment. So that brings me to today's keyword. The key terminology is success. Success is getting, the secret to getting ahead is to getting started. So I want you guys to kind of think of the little nuggets that I have dropped in the last few days between consistency and perseverance, and how character, right, was the bridge between those two. And in order for you to succeed, you need to get started, right? Now, I want to come back to what I mentioned earlier about your core stability and your core strength. How do you know if you're at this level or that level, how fast to push it, how much to push it? Well, I have a very, very useful self-assessment quiz that you can take at home by yourself, okay? And also have a core strength test that you can do by yourself at home. Now, I want to be able to guide you through it and give you a blueprint based on your scores. So, at the end of this video, somewhere down below, there's a link that you can click, get access to the quiz, get access to the core strength, and most importantly, schedule a time for me to give you your own blueprint based on those results free of charge. Okay, now because I'm going to give you the access to my schedule, it's about 15-20 minute time slot given your results. I only have a few, so you only have this week to get on the appointment books with your results in hand. Okay, now if you do not have time, if this week is a very crazy week for you to do that, don't worry. In a couple weeks, okay, and this is what I want to leave you guys with. In a couple weeks, we're going to do this, which is called the 3D Core Intensive. We're going to do the 3D Core Intensive 14-day challenge, late winter edition. Yes, we're going to do 14 days, you and me going through this for 14 days, hand in hand, helping you, guiding you through the murky water of getting your core stronger, but more importantly, getting your core stable so whatever comes at you in the spring season, right, as we get ready to rejuvenate your garden and kind of work around the house, you don't have to deal with low back stress. If you're ready to hit the golf links, you're ready to hit some rounds of golf without any problems. And more importantly, if you're ready to be traveling, right, spring break is around the corner, I want you to be ready. I want you to be ready to tackle on that without worrying about your core. So that's what I wanted you to kind of get all things core strength this week. What does it take? What are the best exercises? Where you should start? What you should look out for, right? And most importantly, the first thing that you need to do and what you need to know before you get going. But nevertheless, I wanted to give you those free gifts. Schedule, grab one of those links, schedule that appointment so I can give you your free blueprint. No string attached. But if you don't have time this week, just know that there's a 14-day challenge coming your way. In the meantime, you guys be well and stay safe. Talk to you later.